Hey there internets, I'm Michael and this is Toucan Play That Game, bringing you a review of Codenames by Czech Games Editions. So let's take a look at the box and see what is this. Well, we've got some people silhouetted saying top secret word game. Okay, so it's a word game. That's kind of all that's telling us, isn't it? Well, what Codenames is you are all spies and you're trying to identify who is a spy on your side or on the opposition side based off their code names. And you have your, I guess it's handler, giving you clues as to who the right code names are for your side, so that you can identify them. But of course they can't tell you directly because no, the other spies, the enemy, are listening in. So that's why it's all comes down to codes. So how does this actually work in practice? Well, I think the easiest thing to do here is take it to the table for a closer look. You'll start by taking all your codename cards here and randomly picking 25. Those 25 you'll then set out in a 5x5 grid, like so. In this game, you will either be in two teams or obviously doing a two-player game. If you're in two teams, one of you will be the blue team, one of you will be the red team. And then one person on each team will be designated that team's spy master, who will be giving clues to the other player. They will get to look at this key card. So there are a lot of these key cards. You'll shuffle these up, randomly pick one, and then put it in the plastic clear stand so that both spy masters can see this. Then in a turn, the spy master will look at this grid to see which of the different code names belong to their team. So let's take this out of the stand so that we can just set it down here. So let's say it was from this perspective. Obviously, you'd randomly determine what perspective it was in. That would mean the blue team have to get the park, luck, embassy, pistol, scientist, kiwi, tick, mine, and check code names. So on the blue player's turn, their spy master would be giving a clue that is a single word and only a single word, and then a number that represents the number of the different code names that correspond to that clue. So for instance, weapon, that's a single word, and then two, representing that two of our code names for the blue team are weapons. The blue team's players would then discuss which they think are the appropriate code names. They'll then point to one, so they'll go pistol. If it's correct, which it is in this case, the spy master will put a blue agent on there to represent they have correctly identified the blue agent. But then picking the next one, they choose hook. Seems like a reasonable thing from weapon, so they'll pick hook and they point to it. It's important that you go based on what they point to, not on what they say. And you want to try and have the spy masters not say anything and not react either. That's the thing, because if the spy master's there smiling when they say the correct ones, it's going to ruin the game. In this case, they said hook, and according to this, hook is a neutral, so we place that on there. For guessing wrong, that ends the blue team's turn. If, however, they had not guessed wrong, let's say they had correctly guessed mine, that's the two that they were allowed to guess based off what the spy master gave as the clue. Now with those two out the way, they're allowed to take one and just one wild guess. So they're going to take a wild guess and they're going to go for hook. And of course we already know that's a neutral. Then it's the red turn, spy masters go. And they're going to try and give clue to fly, and they're going to say technology 1. But their team spots scientist, which obviously that's got to be the correct answer. So the red team point to scientist. Now this is not a red agent, so they don't get to place one of their red agents. Actually, it is a blue agent, so they place a blue agent. And that immediately ends the turn. Not only does it mean that their turn is over, but it means that the blues are one step closer to winning because you win the round once all your agents have been placed. Let's say it was blue turn again, and this time they give the clue of medicine for some reason, even though none of their code names actually relate to that. And they say medicine 1, and their team, of course, picks disease. At this point, the spy master would place the assassin, and that means that the blue team have instantly lost the round and the red team win the round. And that's the game. Now let's talk about the 2-player variant. So in a 2-player game, you will play normally, but you will only have one team. So you will play whichever team is given on the border of the card as going first. So let's play a 2-player game, and we are blue because that's what this says. At the end of each turn of the blue team, so let's say we go for that whole weapon 2 and you get those 2 right, and then you don't take a wild guess because it is an option. It's then the red team's turn, at which point the spy master takes one of the red agent cards and will pick one of the red agents to fill in. So let's say they go apple, and then it would be the blue team's turn again. They take their turn as normal, so placing any that they get guesses right for. If they get a neutral or a red, it will end their turn. And if they get the assassin, that of course means you instantly lose. Then once you've got all of your code names out on the table, however many red agents or opposing team agents are left in the stack is how well you did. And you can refer to the table at the back of the rulebook for this. So obviously, the more that are left, the better you did. That is Codenames. Well, what do I think? Let's start with the artwork. Well, as you can tell looking at the box, there really isn't much artwork to do with this. I mean, as you've seen from the cards, it is a card game. Not really a lot of art. The layout and graphic design of everything is very good, very clear, very obvious. That's one bonus at least. Then what about the quality of the components? It's all fine. It's not astounding. It's not special. It's just cards, and those cards are fine, reasonable quality. So what about the gameplay? Well, it's a party game, and I tend not to like party games, but this is an astounding party game. It is absolutely fantastic. It's just so engaging as a party game compared to what a lot of them are. If you're the person giving clues, that's so difficult trying to think, well, what do I think that person will get as a relationship? Picking that one word that will give the clues to your things and identifying where there's links between yours and the assassin or the other team. Really, really good, really engaging. And as the people guessing, you know, you've got the discussion, or even if you've not got a big enough team to have a discussion, you've got the consideration of, well, it could be this, it could be that, bearing in mind other clues that have been given, being able to take that chance on an extra one. Really good, really enjoyable, lots of laughs every time we play. Well, what about the scaling then? Because this claims it will play 2 to 8 plus. Well, because of the team nature, you could play this with more than 8, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it would get a bit argumentative, a bit shouty, a bit too loud. What about, of course, 2? Because this is 2 can play that game. So can 2 play this game? Well, yes, 2 can play this game, but it is only an okay game as a 2-player, whereas it is a great game as a party game with multiple people. Now, if you want to hone your skills with you and your other half of doing this and trying to get it down to as fewer guesses and as fewer clues as possible, then it's great fun playing the 2-player, but you won't sit and play 2-player for a whole night. Whereas if you're in a group, you may well end up playing just round after round of this for several hours as a group game. Whereas a 2-player game, you might do probably 2 games, either side of the grid. That's it. So that is my thoughts on Codenames. I would say it's a great game to go out and get if you're going to ever play with more than two and might only occasionally play with two. If, however, you're only going to play with two people and never more, I wouldn't recommend getting this. It's not going to be an engaging enough game for you. Okay, thanks for watching. I do hope this has been useful. Of course, if it has, please check out the rest of the videos on the channel, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and family, and also take a look at us on social media. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching and bye for now.